All right, so we're here in Queensland, and you know, as Queenslanders, we have a lot of things that are important to us. But I think that when we look at maybe minor political parties that really represent everything that Queenslanders are all about, who do we think of? Pauline Hanson.
Pauline Hanson's One
Hanson's
Nation.
One Nation. Yeah.
Any fond voters in? Brutal. Yeah, I thought we'd take a little bit of a deep dive at this wonderful Queensland institution. They actually ended up doing quite well in the 2025 election.
Yeah. Which you actually honestly haven't heard much about, right? Like, I feel like this wasn't part of the media narrative and the kind of picking over the entrails of the election results.
It's definitely part of the Sky News media narrative,
right.
I'll tell you that much. This is like the only thing out of the election they're kind of hanging on to. Yeah. Adam Bant losing his seat and Pauline Hanson doing well.
Yeah.
They're two big stories for the right, yes.
Okay.
And of course, Pauline did a little dance, I believe, which you heard that Adam had lost his seat.
Can you show me what it looked like? Someone thinks that would look really funny.
Yeah, sure. It looked like this. Insert. Great.
It was really funny, guys.
It's a podcast. All right, so we're going to talk about these wonderful Queenslanders that are in One Nation. Obviously, Pauline Hanson is a strong woman in politics, and as such, your hero. How much does she mean to you, would you say? What's your favourite thing about her?
Yeah, it's just really hard when you don't see any, you know, people that look like you in politics. And, you can't be what you can't see. And so, no, I think the best thing, like, building independence and as a feminist, the most important thing, obviously, is branding.
Yes.
And I think what's really incredible about Pauline Hanson is the way she's been able to brand herself. And her brand is orange. That's the brand. I've got orange hair, and my colour is orange.
She really was the original Trump in many ways.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time seeing her or hearing her or sort of like when she first entered your world?
I don't know that I remember the first time seeing her. She was kind of there vaguely when I was growing up, not paying much attention to politics. But when I did start paying attention to politics was around the time of like, do you remember the halal culture wars? Remember when that was the culture war thing, was that everything was going to have to be halal and it was going to destroy small mum and dad businesses and all of that. It was also the time that us lefties were obsessed with halal snack packs.
Yes.
HSP for the initiated. And so I remember in my politics course, one of the things that got me top marks at uni, no big deal.
Extremely cool.
Yeah, representing the Labor Party in our mock election.
Yes.
Was at an event we hosted an HSP eating contest, and the whole idea of it was to like put the Pauline Hanson One Nation candidate on the spot because she wouldn't want to eat an HSP and she'd look like she hated fun. Yeah. So anyway, sorry, what was the question?
Did it work?
I think she ate it. She ate it, yeah, so hypocrite.
Hypocrisy exposed. Did you ever see her in Dancing with the Stars? Or no, maybe you're too young for that.
Yeah,
right. Okay,
I'm very young.
You didn't know that she was on Dancing with the Stars? Fuck, I'm old. That was a golden time in Australian television. You and me? Oh, okay, well then you should learn culture better. That's totally fine. You missed nothing. Though she looked divine. I don't know if she won. No, she was no good. Anyway, it was bizarre that she was on that fucking show. What do you think explains Pauline's enduring appeal, would you say? Like, she has stuck around for a very long time, got elected in, 96, then gets booted out at 98, doesn't get back in until 2016, but that whole time she sort of has been to prison in and out. But she's been around. She's a survivor. She's a fighter.
Yeah, she is, yeah. Oh, God, I almost was going to say, much like Libby Watson-Brown. She's not. No, I'm sorry, I don't mean that. The obvious answer, right, is it's the anti-politics stuff. She really has embodied that. And as one of the millions of leftists currently reading Ash Sarkar's Minority Rule.
Oh, yes.
I do think she does that, like, victimhood, like taking on the victimhood that the right wing, their version of identity politics. Yeah, it's that thing of, like, I'm the victim, we're the victim, the white, quote unquote working class, even though they don't mean working class.
Yeah.
We're the victims and we're being cancelled and I'm the underdog. I think she does that really well.
Yes.
And I think people relate to that.
Mainstream Australians, quiet Australians.
Yeah, quiet Australians who are being trampled by the minority.
And she gets this thing whenever you read about Pauline, it's always, she says what she thinks. She's a straight shooter. She tells it like it is, right?
Yeah.
Which I think, and the interesting things with Pauline to me is like when it's like a mirror image of the left, okay? So, so we're trying to tap into the anti-politics sentiment as well, right? Because it's very real and we're trying to get advantage. And we like leaders that tell it like it is, right? People like Bernie Sanders or Jeremy Corbyn or Adam Bandt have been saying the same thing for a very long time, who say the thing even when it's politically difficult because they stand by their values and what they believe. Now, the qualifier is, like it is, does need to be based on facts.
Yeah.
Like, does need to be grounded in.
It actually is, yeah.
Yes, whereas Pauline seems to be valorised for just saying whatever the fuck is in her head without reading any articles or research or talking to other people or trying to actually find out what other people think about stuff.
Okay, but here's my question. Do you think she actually says what she thinks? Because I think she's as much full of shit as anyone else. She just, honestly, she says it with like a shaky voice, and it's like feigned incompetency, and like that comes across as genuine to people. I reckon that's what it is. But she's not actually saying what she thinks.
You think so? You think she's smarter in her head than what she sounds like, or dumber?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I just but she's cynical. Like, and she is. This is the thing about One Nation, is that they have been able to position themselves. The number of times that I see like comments on social media and that sort of thing on Greens material about like corporate donations and the influence of corporations and lobbyists in politics on the major parties, and people going, yeah, this is why I'm voting One Nation. And it's like, but there's much in the pocket of big corporations. They take those donations, like they hold those same interests, but they're able to present themselves in not that way. So that's what I mean. Like it's not like she's genuine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The policy positions of the party are interesting. This is a summary from Anna Broinowski, who made a documentary and has written a book about Pauline Hanson. This is in Crikey this week. One Nation supports increased Medicare rebates, medical cannabis. Do we know they're on board, medical weed?
Yes, I say this all the time, and everyone's always like, what? Yeah, that's a thing.
Right.
Pauline Hanson is like pro-weed.
Okay, interesting. Maybe she should have someone chill the fuck out. Multinational taxes, foreign land ownership bans, and purportedly sustainable water, forestry, and farming practices. It is also aggressively anti-abortion, pro-mining, anti-climate science, and in a move straight from Trump's Project 2025, intent on cutting government health, Indigenous, and environmental programs to the tune of $90 billion. The party wants Australia out of the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and the Paris Climate Accord, labelling CO2 targets economic suicide. It's interesting. Recently she told Sky News, climate change is a scam and it is not going to help the Australian people, but it is putting them into more hurt and pain.
Hear, Pauline.
She clearly means climate action, but it's like, yeah, climate change does suck and it's not going to help anyone. What a strange lady. Do you think they've focused on that? Is like anti-net zero and climate denial really does seem to be the number One Nation thing?
Oh, I actually don't know if it is. Like, I think they've sort of tried that. And that was really Malcolm Roberts. It was a big thing for him when he first got elected. Like, he's a real climate denier. But from what I've seen, my interactions with or like observations of One Nation voters, that's not necessarily a huge motivator for them. It's just the broader, like, something is deeply wrong with society, and I haven't quite yet put my finger on the fact that it's capitalism and not quote unquote communism, even though I don't really know what that means. Yeah. She said that people say that we're an extreme right party. That is ridiculous to say. We're more of a centrist party than extreme right. Everyone's a fucking centrist.
All right, my idea. The Greens rebrand as centrist, okay? We keep all the same policies. We don't change a thing. We just say, yeah, we're a centrist party now. Because no one seems to give a fuck what that means anymore.
No, they don't. Centrist just means correct. That's what people mean.
We're the centrist party. All right, in the election, Pauline Hanson's One Nation doubled its Senate representation in 2025. They will now hold 4 seats in the next parliament. Pauline wasn't up for election. She's in there. Malcolm Roberts is still there, re-elected by Queensland. I'll keep trying, you fuckers. And they're going to be joined by Warwick Stacey from New South Wales and Tyrone Whitten from WA. This success means One Nation will return to the record heights it reached after the 2016 double dissolution election and will now have the same number of senators as the Nationals.
Wow.
Which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
They enjoyed a 1.4% swing in the national vote, bringing them to 6.2%. So we've got almost 992,000 Australians voting number one for One Nation across the country. Do you think that's like calls into question the idea that this election was about Australia rejecting the hard right, or was it specifically about the Dutton hard right? Because One Nation seemed to be doing pretty well, or it's slightly improving.
I mean, I think the thing is, like, that narrative is only predicated on the fact that we went into the election, we being like the notional left or the progressive left or even the centre kind of politics in Australia, with this fear of the far right, like the emergence of the far right in the US and to some extent in Europe as well. And so then we see the result that, like, Dutton was painted as Trump and he lost and go, oh, phew, it's okay. Like, we did it. We stopped the far right a little bit. But the thing is, we have to go back and remember that, yeah, like we were scared of that rise for a reason. Like, and again, I think it goes back primarily to anti-politics. I don't think that deep down, the majority of One Nation voters are voting for them on the basis of like deep-seated racism, etc. But that's still there. And the thing is, for those people, Dutton wasn't far right enough.
No,
and so a lot of people,
too woke.
yeah, exactly. Dutton, weak woke, sending us broke. But yeah, there were people who were voting against Dutton and for Labor because of the fear of the far right, but they were scared of the people who were probably going to One Nation.
Yes. Well, I mean, the idea that if you pin yourself to Trump, you're going to lose votes, clearly didn't translate for One Nation, right? The number of people out there who are attracted to a more Trumpian message definitely voted for One Nation. The lady, Pauline, who toasted Trump's election in 2016 with some champagne.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
All right, these two new One Nation freaks, they're not very interesting. From WA, Tehran is from the construction industry. He says, I refuse to sit back and watch our country be sold off to global interests, yada, 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 yada. From New South Wales, this guy, Warwick Stacey, is a little bit more interesting. He's a former hostage negotiator and served in the British and Australian armies and also was an SAS soldier.
Oh, good.
So I'm sure he did wonderful things. Which Pauline Hanson said proves the strength of members of her party. He does consultation work for the military and private bases as well. So he's got a lot of background in the military and it'll be great benefit to the party, but also to the floor of the parliament to, put forward what needs to be done.
Oh my God. Going to introduce waterboarding to the floor of the Senate.
Well, on the One Nation website, they say, with Lydia Thorpe often disrupting proceedings, Warwick Stacey's negotiation skills may prove essential in keeping the chamber focused.
Has this been reported to the Australian Federal Police? Is that a threat?
He just fucking tackles her to the ground.
Oh my God. Okay.
He's an interesting guy. Guardian Australia spoke to Stacey last month at the ballot draw for the New South Wales Senate. Australia needs people to stand up, not to complain. If you complain, stand up.
Oh.
And I complain, and I'm standing up.
Yes.
Pretty inspiring words.
That's so true.
All right, hey, we should crack on.
Up. All right, okay.
Should we?
What about?
Yeah, we can talk about this little video. I think we like the video.
Sorry, I know that we're running out of time, but I have to say as well, just a quick note that Pauline Hanson's daughter ran, and she was like, "I'm not my mother." And Pauline Hanson was like, it's not nepotism because I would let my daughter run, but I would never, ever let one of my stupid, idiot sons run. She was like, I wouldn't have one of my sons in Parliament. So it's about qualifications and ability.
Yes.
I wouldn't have any of my sons near me. Oh my God.
Mother of the... Pretty brutal for the Hanson boys there, isn't it? I wouldn't have anything to do with you. Now vote for your fucking sister, all right?
Okay.
I thought this was interesting for the crikey piece about the way that One Nation talks to people, right? Like Trump, Hanson also consistently weaponizes her rejection by the status quo to attract more followers, kind of what you were saying before. Pilloried as a racist demagogue by the legacy media, she uses online platforms to reach her people directly. In 1998, One Nation was the first Australian party to own a website.
Wow.
Building a digital army of Hanson loyalists that is still active today. That is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the Pauline Hanson's Please Explain Facebook page. It has, what did I say, something like upwards of 560,000 followers, like something like that. It's wild.
They do it very well.
Yeah.
But if you're at the Labor Party in 1998, what else are you doing other than sorting out a fucking website?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
For the 2025 election, the party turbocharged its politics as entertainment strategy with South Park-style animations, whose satirical slapdowns of bird-killing wind turbines, hysterical non-binary lefties, and evil Greens edgelords.
Any hysterical non-binary lefties in the room?
Yeah!
Woo! Yeah!
Calm down, please. They racked up 100,000 to 485,000 views per clip, with one penalised by the AEC for promoting false election claims. Now, this is the Pauline Hanson Please Explain series on YouTube. They're South Park-style animations. How many of these videos have you watched?
I watched the one you sent me. But this isn't just one they didn't start this year, right? She's done these videos before.
Yes, they started not long after we started the podcast, and we sort of debated whether or not we were going to talk about it.
Yeah, because I thought they were kind of funny.
Uh-oh. Has anyone else watched the Please Explain videos?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah.
Green supporters just putting them through the torture at home. Watching these animations. Well, I sent you one called Forgetting Adam Bant, and it's from about 9 months ago. And the premise of this video is that Adam Bant and Anthony Albanese are gay.
Hilarious. Imagine being gay.
Imagine actually being gay, though. Like, actually imagine it.
Yeah.
They're in sort of couples therapy together, and it's kind of a goodwill hunting piss take, and they're kind of working through their issues. This is at the time when the housing blockage bill stuff is going down.
Okay.
And we thought we might recreate some of that wonderful magic for you here on stage.
Oh yeah, well, you've got a script. So you were insistent on playing Albanese. You said it's always been your dream or something. Okay.
Role I was born to play. I will be attempting the slight speech impediment because they do that in the video. Okay. All right, fair enough.
Here we go. Okay.
Well, we'll see.
And I will be playing Adam Bant.
Okay.
Right.
Now please have a very gay voice. That's very important.
That's it. I'm blocking you in the Senate.
See, this is what he does.
Oh, Tom, I don't know.
Don't do it. Friendly Geordies does it. It must be okay. He did it with my inadequate housing bill. Now he's done it again. He blocks me and then gets to tell everyone how woke and perfect he is.
You're a coward. This is the same guy that won't tax the rich, all because he's too scared of throwing his mates into a little class warfare. Oh, sorry. Tom gave me direction before that I have to do it more gay because Adam's gay in the video. Into a little class warfare.
Oh, so you can do that, but I can't do.
And don't even get me started with his best mate, Israel. Oh, I hate Israel so much.
I mean, that is the quality of writing that we have here. Adam Bant saying, I hate Israel so much. Look, I'm sorry I can't be the liberal cuck you want me to be, Adam. But I've got a barely functioning government to mismanage. Just wonderful satire.
It's really good.
Everyone's calling me the worst Prime Minister ever.
I mean... No, you're not. You could have been so much worse if you just listened to me. Together, we could have destroyed this country.
They break up, then Adam Bant storms out, and then the couples therapist is like... There was actually a genuinely funny bit in which he says to Anthony Albanese, it is your fault, it is your fault, it is your fault, referencing Goodwill Hunting. I thought that was actually mildly amusing.
I haven't seen the movie, so I didn't think it was funny.
And then Adam Bant comes back and he hears Anthony Albanese talk about how he's going to destroy everything and he's an ideologue, and then they... I mean, you want to describe what happens?
Yeah, they passionately kiss.
Yeah.
It's really interesting stuff.
It's pretty hot.
It's... Yeah, the line drawing... Anyway.
Imagine the person animating these things at home. Being like, this is my fucking job.
Yeah. But you see, it's funny because they're two men.
Yes.
Kissing. And that's bad.
That's very funny. What, if anything, should or can be done about Pauline and One Nation generally?
Have you ever had a small question?
Yes, last question. Then we'll talk to our wonderful guest. But yes, I mean, have you had that experience of door knocking people? Because we hear these legends of Greenslanders door knocking people and on the doorstep talking to One Nation and a supporter and manage to swing them to vote for the Greens because we're tying into the same economic pain and anxiety that leads them to vote for One Nation and think that's the answer, whereas in fact the correct answer is the Greens.
Yeah.
Have you had that experience? How realistic is that, or what could be done?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does come back to what you have to overcome is this. It's like that victimhood culture warfare narrative that, especially, they believe that we think that they are evil and bad, and so they're already coming into that conversation thinking that anyone who cares about a better life for working people, who is talking about the kind of things that the Greens are talking about, or particularly in the Greens, is going to judge them and belittle them and think they're stupid and bad and wrong. And getting past that is that's the first step, I think. And so it's about it's always fucking about building solidarity and a bit of a collective movement, and maybe I think ultimately, maybe putting aside, they'll probably say some shitty things that you disagree with, but you got to find the common ground and go from there.
again, forgive me if I've told this story a million times, but on Tonightly, we did a series where we interviewed people of various different political persuasions. I talked to One Nation voter. He said some very cooked things about Muslim Australians and Islam generally. But then when we got onto the banks, his eyes lit up with a passion and anger and rage at how much the banks had fucked over ordinary people like him. He had families who worked on farms and been fucked over by banks in the before. And you could just see it before your eyes. You could see that night and day difference between, yes, economic pain driving people to these very bad answers and realising that, hey, we have that in common. I hate the banks too, bro.
Yeah, fuck the banks.
Serious danger to Australia.